So I nuzlocke Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with my good friend Mr. Barnes, and I think it's about time that I share my honest thoughts on the game. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Right-wing teacher now, and we're back with an honest review on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So, there's a lot of things to talk about here, so I gotta go through the things I liked about the game, things I didn't like about the game, because there are things that I wasn't super keen on, and we'll go through each and every one of those. So, if you guys like this kind of video, feel free to like the video, and subscribe and turn on notifications as well, so you never miss an upload. But, without any further ado, let's get into it. And I think a lot of people are not too surprised by how the game went. We knew this game was going to be touted as a faithful remake, so we kind of knew we were getting somewhat similar to what we got 15 years ago. But I think my biggest gripe, I guess, is the fact that it was almost too faithful to Brilliant Diamond and Diamond and Pearl. I played Diamond and Pearl for quite a long time at this point, so looking at the differences between the two, there are quite a few, but I think we should talk about probably the biggest elephant in the room first, and that is the Exp Share. Now, the Exp Share has continued to divide opinion among the player base for quite a long time at this point. Public opinion is that it's too overpowered and it needs to be changed. The most common suggestion people have for changing it is to be able to turn it off, which I completely agree with that one. I am totally down for that. But my biggest gripe with the Exp Share is that it was put into this game that was not originally designed for it, and it ended up exaggerating one of the biggest problems that Diamond and Pearl had, which was fixed in Platinum, which is level scaling. Level scaling in the game is not good. At the end of the day, the gym scaling is pretty bad. You have two gyms, the third and the fourth gym, actually have the same level of ace at level 30, which means that if you are hardcore Nuzlocker, it is very easy to overlevel with the Exp Share unless you are swapping out your team constantly, which, to be fair, I'm all for that. I actually like the idea of swapping my team. I don't have a problem swapping my team out. In fact, I kind of enjoy that aspect. It gives you an opportunity to use more than just 6 Pokemon, which I think is perfectly fine. Some people don't like it, some people do, but for me, I'm personally okay with it. But as I was playing through the Nuzlocke with Mr. Barnes, one of the things that I noticed was that I was over-leveling almost all the time. And I wasn't trying to. I was actively trying to stop myself from doing that. But it got to the point where, like, the Pokemon I wasn't using for the gym ended up getting over-leveled, while the Pokemon that I was using for the gym were fine. But because the level scaling was so bad, by the time we got to the Elite Four, and especially Cynthia at the end, we were underleveled. Put simply, we were underleveled for the Elite Four and Cynthia, which made it kind of a lot more difficult. But that being said, though, the Nuzlocke was pretty fun to play, and it definitely was an interesting experience, but the Exp Share kind of made things a little bit more difficult. I would have liked to have seen instead they actually fixed the level scaling with somewhat similar level scaling to Platinum. Obviously just make the levels of the actual Pokemon scale up with each individual gym, just like pretty much every other Pokemon game does, so I feel like that's what they could have done, but they missed an opportunity there, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But let's talk about the next step to talk about, which is the new stuff that they added, particularly with the contests and with the Underground. There were two different things that they changed, of course. They reworked contests, which for those who are fans of contests, I'm personally not one of those, but for those who are fans of the contest, I actually really liked the overhaul. I thought the overhaul was really, really cool, and I'm totally down for it. I think it's a nice touch and a nice change to the game. The Underground, however, was a disappointment to me. The Underground, to me, yes, while it does give you opportunities to get rare Pokemon in there, you know, particularly for those who struggle with the Fire-type issue, because, once again, we only had Infernape and Rapidash outside of Houndoom down in the Underground. So, the Underground had potential, but I didn't really enjoy the Underground all that much. Like, they still kept the old core parts of the Underground, the mining, which was always fun. I used to love doing that as a kid, and I still enjoy doing that now, mining for rare items like fossils and stuff like that. Always worth the time. But the statues to me kind of felt like they were rushed and added in. They weren't really explained very well in the games. So it was pretty hard to understand what they actually did and how the secret bases worked. I would have just liked to have had the old secret base back, but we didn't get it, so kind of unfortunate. The next thing to kind of look at actually is the buffs that they made to the gyms. Like, while the level scaling was pretty bad, I actually really liked the changes to the gyms themselves. The actual gym leaders Pokemon, most of them were holding items, a lot of them were EV'd. The Elite Four and Cynthia was insane. Like, it was a really, really hard Elite Four, and I am all for that. I don't mind the additional challenge, while it is a source of frustration for a lot of players who don't play competitive like I do. It was a really interesting experience actually trying to Nuzlocke it. Obviously, I actually managed to beat it, but Barnes unfortunately lost at Cynthia. But it definitely gave the game kind of a feeling that the Elite Four and Champion was actually hard, which it should be. It's an Elite Four and a Champion. Like, there's nothing worse than getting to the Elite Four and Champion and just breezing through it, and it just seems too easy. So I like the fact that they gave it suitable challenge with the EVs and gave them intuitive items. It definitely made it a lot more challenging, but it made it a lot more fun to play. So I was all for that. I just wish they fixed the level scaling issue in the first place. The next thing was kind of where they just sort of dumped the legendaries in what was the old Pal Park type thing. It was Romana's Park now. I'm not sold on it. I'm not really sold on that idea, like just plonking legendaries in an area of a map, which doesn't really make sense. They didn't really have their own story or anything like that. Which is kind of a little bit unfortunate. I would have liked to have had a post-game where we traveled around the map, unlocked new areas because we became champion, and we encountered those legendaries there, much akin to some of the old legendary events like the Shaman and the Arceus at Spear Pillar type events of the past. I would have liked to have seen that, but we didn't get that, which was kind of a little bit sad. The only thing that really kind of gripes me a little bit is the gym leader rematches was pretty much the only post game that we had. And I'm not a huge fan of the post game, even in the original Diamond and Pearl, so they didn't really improve on it this time around either. Like, the rematches were cool, they were definitely challenging, but they were just more battles at the end of the day. There was no real story to it, there was no real connection to it. So I never really felt the need to actively pursue playing them completely. Although the Cynthia rematch was probably one of the hardest fights in Pokemon history, which was definitely exciting, but at the end of the day, it is just more battles, and it's not really a lot more to do. So aside from, you know, beating the game and completing the decks, like, unless you're a shiny hunter, which I'm not, there's not really that much post-game, and that's kind of sucks, especially when Oras had the Delta episode, which was easily by far and away my favorite post-game of all time. It kind of sucks that we didn't get that again, and I would have liked to have seen like something of that level. We had no real platinum elements in the game, which I would have liked to have seen. You know, there was no Battle Frontier. We had a Battle Tower, which was cool, but nothing too special. So we missed a lot of things that we could have had in the game, but we didn't. And that, I think, was the missed opportunity. That being said, though, the game was enjoyable. Like, I played the game. I enjoyed playing the game. I was happy playing the game. But at the end of the day, it was pretty much the exact kind of faithful remake that we got. I don't even like to call it a remake. I would rather call it a remaster because it is so similar to the original game with some minor tweaks. And most of the tweaks they made were kind of somewhat inconsequential outside of the Exp Share. So that is probably the one thing that I'm okay with. There is one last thing which I saw people complaining about on Twitter, which was the TMs not being reusable, and it went back to the old style of TMs. I want to say this to those people. The current TM system in Gen 8 was broken. To have reusable TMs, that, yes, they cost a lot of money to get, but once you got them, you could literally teach them to every single Pokemon that learned it. It's incredibly overpowered. It allows you to get Pokemon, all your Pokemon with really high-powered moves and blitz through the game as easy as it gets, rather than actually have to strategically think about how you spend your money to actually get the Pokemon that you particularly want. But that is my thing on that. I personally prefer the old way the TMs worked, and I'm glad that they brought it back into the game. It definitely made me strategize as to what I taught which moves and stuff like that, and how I balanced out the money. You did get enough money in the game that you didn't have to worry about it in the first place, so the complaint to me kind of feels invalid, but that's how that goes for me. But in general, like, I'm okay with the old TM system. The new TM system is fine, but it just feels a little bit strong, so I wouldn't go with it myself, but that's just how we go. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Let me know what your thoughts are about the game. Did you enjoy the game? Did you not enjoy the game? Did you pick up the game even? And if not, why didn't you pick up the game? Because I'm definitely interested to hear from you. So let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what yours are. But as always, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.